3 years ago, Ethan Caldwell, bought a stunning 5-acre property on the edge of Willow Creek Estates. The highlight was a beautifully restored barn, now my home office and weekend workshop. As an architectural engineer working remotely, that barn is my sanctuary. Willow Creek Estates has an HOA, but my land, bordering the neighborhood with the barn set far back, was subject only to basic maintenance rules. I kept my property tidy, paid dues on time, and stayed neighborly. For 2 years, the HOA barely noticed me. Then Elaine Foster, dubbed Karen by the neighborhood, became president, and everything changed. Elaine's mission to restore order meant violation notices for trivial issues, like trash cans lingering curbside. My first clash came when a neon yellow notice on my mailbox claimed my barn was an unauthorized structure. I emailed her my deed and documents proving the barn was grandfathered in. I thought that settled it. I was wrong. 3 days later, Elaine appeared at my door, unannounced, a thick binder under her arm, her sleek brunette bob unmoved by the humid summer air. "Mr. Caldwell," she said, skipping pleasantries, "I've reviewed your documents. While the barn may be grandfathered, its use as she checked her notes, home office and workshop violates aesthetic guidelines." I leaned against the doorframe, staying calm. "Elaine, my property line starts 30 feet back, and the barn's another 100 yards. It's invisible from community roads. How's it affecting aesthetics?" "It's Elaine," she corrected, chin raised. "All structures in Willow Creek Estates must comply, regardless of visibility. I need to inspect the interior." I declined, citing HOA bylaws limiting their jurisdiction to exteriors. Elaine left, huffing, warning, "This isn't over." Over the next months, I got notices for everything grass height, within code, unauthorized, wildflowers, native pollinators. Each time, I sent proof of compliance, but Elaine grew more irate. Then came the Willow Creek Estates Summer Gala. With the clubhouse under renovation, the board needed a new venue. Elaine, spotting my barn, had an idea. I was in my barn, working on a client's structural model, when my doorbell rang repeatedly. Elaine stood there with 3 board members, all in matching HOA polos. "Good news, Mr. Caldwell," she announced, stepping into my foyer uninvited. "We're granting an exemption for any barn violations." "There were no violations," I cut in. "In exchange for using your barn for the gala," she continued, ignoring me. "It's perfect for our 130 guests. The rustic vibe will be charmingly country chic." I stared, stunned. "You want my private workspace for your party?" "The community party," she corrected. "As a resident, you're part of Willow Creek, aren't you? Unless you don't care about community spirit." The board members nodded expectantly. "I appreciate the offer," I said carefully, "but I'm on a tight deadline. My equipment's set up, and I can't risk damage." Elaine's smile hardened. "We're prepared to overlook certain irregularities in your compliance for this favor." Was she threatening me? I kept my voice even. "Are you saying if I don't let you use my property, you'll invent violations?" The board members shifted uncomfortably, but Elaine didn't flinch. "Cooperation makes community living harmonious. The gala's in 3 weeks. We need access to decorate." She handed me a formal request. "I'm sure you'll decide wisely. We'll check back." They left, leaving me fuming. That evening, I scoured the HOA bylaws. As expected, nothing compelled homeowners to host events. I also found multiple instances of Elaine overstepping her authority. I called my college friend, Tom Harper, a real estate attorney specializing in HOA disputes. He confirmed the HOA couldn't demand my property and that retaliation was actionable. I drafted a firm email to the board, declining their request and warning of legal consequences, attaching relevant bylaws. 2 days later, Elaine returned, her tone syrupy. "Mr. Caldwell, there's a misunderstanding. We're just asking for a neighborly gesture." "My position's clear," I replied. "My property's not available. I have work commitments." Her smile faltered. "Neighbors have complained about noise from your barn power tools after 6 p.m., hammering on weekends. Very disruptive. Alimi's nearest neighbor was a quarter-mile away, and I rarely worked late." "File those complaints formally," I said. "I'll address them properly." "The gala committee will be disappointed," she cut in. "We've designed invitations featuring your barn." "That's your planning error, not my problem," I said. Her pleasant mask cracked. Listen, Mr. Caldwell, that barn will host our gala. Reconsider, or things get unpleasant. She stormed to her SUV, leaving her threat hanging. A week later, an HOA email announced an emergency board meeting resolution. They'd held a secret meeting against bylaws claiming my barn was on a common area easement, backed by a fake plot map. I called Tom, who was livid. They can't redraw property lines or hold unnotified meetings. We'll shut this down. He drafted a cease and desist letter, which I delivered to each board member. Elaine wasn't home, so I left hers in her mailbox. The next morning, I woke to vehicles on my property. Outside, Elaine and volunteers were unloading decorations near my barn. What are you doing? I demanded, letter in hand. Setting up for the gala, Elaine said smugly. The board vote was unanimous. I sent a cease and desist, I said. You're trespassing. Leave now. She waved dismissively. Your threats don't scare me. The revised easement is fraudulent, I interrupted. You can't redraw my property lines. Remove yourselves, or I call the police. A volunteer, the treasurer, Paul, looked uneasy. Elaine, maybe we should discuss this. If he has legal. Stop being spineless, Paul, she snapped. He's bluffing. She grabbed keys from a volunteer and marched to my barn, unlocking it. Later, I learned she'd tricked the neighborhood handyman into copying my key, claiming I'd authorized it for HOA emergencies. Before I could stop her, Elaine and 2 volunteers entered, moving my equipment for tables. Furious but cautious, I dialed 911, explaining the trespassing. As I waited, more volunteers arrived, transforming my workspace into a party venue. Elaine directed with smug authority, smirking my way. After 20 minutes, Officer Martinez, whom I'd met at a safety meeting, arrived. I showed him my deed, the cease and desist, and the fake easement. He listened, then approached Elaine, who launched into a theatrical rant about community easements. Her voice grew shrill as Martinez asked pointed questions. He returned to me. This is a civil matter, but until resolved in court, the deed stands. This is your property. They need to leave if you're asking. Relief washed over me. Yes, I want them gone. Martinez addressed the group. Folks, pack up and vacate. This is private land, and you don't have permission. Most volunteers gathered their things, murmuring apologies. Elaine stood firm. This is ridiculous. We have a right. The board voted. The board can't vote to use private property without consent, Martinez said. Leave or face trespassing charges. Elaine's face reddened. The gala's tomorrow. We have no venue. 130 people. Not Mr. Caldwell's problem, Martinez cut in. Fuming, Elaine hissed as she passed me. This isn't over. After they left, Martinez advised changing locks and adding cameras. I thanked him, and he filed a report. That night, a 24-hour locksmith rekeyed my barn. I installed a phone-connected security camera system for safety. Saturday, gala day, my camera pinged. Elaine and caterers were at my barn. She tried her key, then pounded the door in frustration. I approached. Can I help you? You changed the locks, she spat. How dare you? How dare I secure my property? I replied. I changed them after trespassers used a fraudulent key. The gala starts in 4 hours. You have to let us use the barn. I don't, I said. And after yesterday, I'm less inclined to help. You'll regret this, she seethed. A caterer interrupted. MS. Foster, we need to know where to set up. Ice sculptures are melting. Elaine ignored him, glaring. One last chance, Caldwell. Open that barn, or I'll make your life hell. I crossed my arms. Elaine, I have Officer Martinez's card. Should I call him about further harassment? The caterer pressed. MS. Foster, we have other events today. Elaine's face turned purple, fists clenched. Abruptly, she turned to the caterers. Set up in the Oak Lane cul-de-sac, she ordered. We'll have the gala in the street. The caterer blinked. The street? We'd need permits. Do it, she shrieked. I almost pitted her as she stormed off, yelling into her phone to redirect guests. Later, my doorbell rang. My camera showed Paul, the treasurer, looking nervous. Mr. Caldwell, he said, I'm sorry about yesterday. I didn't know Elaine lied about your permission. I nodded, wary. Thanks, but what's this about? The gala's a mess happening in the cul-de-sac without permits, blocking driveways. Police were called. It's a disaster. He paused. The board's holding an emergency meeting tomorrow to address Elaine's conduct. She's exposed the HOA to legal liability. She's falsified documents before. Would you attend and share your experience? I agreed. The next morning, I arrived at the clubhouse with Tom. The room was packed with board members and homeowners who'd clashed with Elaine. She arrived late, disheveled, freezing when she saw me before forcing a smile. Paul opened the meeting, explaining the issue. Homeowners shared stories of Elaine's overreach, arbitrary fines, falsified records. I presented evidence of the trespassing, fake easement, and illegal key copying. Tom outlined violated bylaws and state laws, noting the HOA's liability. Elaine tried interrupting, but Paul insisted she wait. By the end, the room was tense. Board members scribbled notes, faces shocked or furious. Paul turned to Elaine. Do you have anything to say? She stood, hands trembling. These are misunderstandings. As president, I uphold community standards. I may have been overzealous, but it was for Willow Creek's good. A board member, Lisa, spoke. Including falsifying maps and copying keys? Elaine faltered. Exceptional circumstances. The gala. Not true, Paul countered. You canceled our Riverside Community Center reservation months ago. Murmurs spread. Elaine paled. Tom leaned in. My client has grounds for legal claims against MS Foster and the HOA. He's willing to forego litigation if appropriate actions are taken today. I nodded. Paul cleared his throat. I move for a vote of no confidence in Elaine Foster as HOA president, removing her from the board effective immediately. The motion was seconded, and the vote was unanimous. Even Elaine's allies turned. Paul announced, Elaine Foster, per Section 7.3 of our bylaws for gross misconduct, you are removed as president and board member. Surrender your HOA records, keys, and access cards. Elaine sat, stunned, mouth agape. Then, with a cry, she leapt up, chair crashing. You can't do this. I made this neighborhood. This is mutiny. As security escorted her out, still shrieking, her final wail echoed. 5 years as president. You'll regret this. Then silent sweet justice served.